the All Progressive Grand Alliance, where the national chairman, Chief Sylvester Izokenwa, has assured supporters of the party that APGA would actively participate in all the off-season elections slated across the country, despite its internal leadership crisis. He declared that the party was prepared to participate in the forthcoming local government elections across the country, urging all members to be ready to participate in the elections. The party therefore urged the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, and the respective state independent electoral commissions across the country not to succumb to the antics of a Dozie Njoko-led faction to recognize strangers as APGA acting state executives or representatives. So the rot in APGA is beginning to show from the leadership. They said when you want to identify a fish that is getting spoiled, it starts from the head. And now we are seeing a situation where APGA is informing their members nationwide that they are ready for elections nationwide in all local government elections, that APGA must field candidates in all the local governments, 774 local governments in Nigeria. But he is still putting a caveat there that you should be careful with knowing who is in charge. I am in charge, not the Njoko-led faction. And with little investigations, we find out that the courts that pronounced the leadership of APGA that is holding sway right now did not, make it very clear enough so as to remove the issue of factional chairman. Why is APGA finding itself in this dilemma even towards the coming local government elections, and they want to survive as a party?
If you ask me, I will say that APGA is not yet ready yet for a contest. Because a house that divided against itself cannot stand. And the law, we can't build on nothing. There is a subsisting Supreme Court judgment, which they are seeking interpretation.
Yes.
That has not happened yet.
Exactly.
The man who is speaking now, his fear, he's already made his fear very known. Because there is that likelihood that INEC will support Njoko-led faction by the judgment of Supreme Court. Now, my worries. My worries is that all these people, sometimes, some of them are planted as in their political party, being sponsored from someone in another political party. When they see that this political party will become an option to someone that may be ill-treated in a ruling party, and they see that this person there is no likelihood that he may run to this other, so they plant the stooge there to strike the water of confusion there, so that he will not have opportunity to cross. If you look at our state, for instance, that is what is happening. That is what they are doing. I think that what is happening now in APGA is very clear that APGA will not go anywhere, because the soul of the party is in contest. Yes, the man that has the judgment may not be popular, but for now, he holds the cutlass on the head. And whether he like it or not, he may not have much of the support of the people. So if he may not have much of the support, so there will be apathy. And if there is apathy, it is to the detriment of the party. So that's why I'm thinking that APGA need to put their house in order. The early debate, our elderly people normally say, he who loses for a black gold, seek it in the daytime. All this way is just semantic. So if it's ready, we will know. They are not ready yet. If they are ready, they are supposed to resolve that issue in court. And you don't know when Supreme Court will give the interpretation. We don't even know. You don't read the mind of the court. How do you know that the court may interpret it to suit you? And if you do you have so much of time to gather your people and begin to,
Then we might be seeing a situation where there might be parallel executives both at the state and at the local government, because what stops Njoko from also setting up his own state executive council and national working committees?
It is not alien to our politics, including our state. Here we have, one political party having more than one office. It's like that in other states. So we know those parallel offices. We know the one that is legitimate.
Is the court not up and running to be able to interpret all this within record time?
Let me tell you. I don't know whether time will permit me. There is a story.
Please do.
Someone told me. He said a manager of a company was caught by the cleaner removing money from the CEO's drawer. And he begged the cleaner not to reveal it. And from that day, the cleaner became the manager. How did the cleaner become the manager? The cleaner will come to work by 8:30, and when the manager raises it, he say, if you worry me, I will, I'm the one who is still keeping you here. At a time, when he became fed up, he went to his CEO and reported himself to the CEO. He said, "Oh, some time ago, something happened here. I was the one who was responsible for the missing money. I come to report myself because I have been dying in silence." Unknown to the cleaner that the manager has reported himself. So when he came, after the manager, he came to job, work very late that day. A manager scolded her, and he came to the director to report to the director what happened a few months ago. And the director told her, what were you waiting since then that he didn't come to inform me? He said, the man has come, I have forgiven him. Let me tell you, that is why in law we say he who come to equity must come with clean hand. And he who seek equity must do equity. You cannot come to equity when your hand is already, when you have soiled your hand. It will be very difficult for you to be bold. The moment Adam and Eve lost their ground with God, the moment they disobeyed God, all the animals in the garden began to be violent to them. Provided they are obedient to the law made by God in the Eden, the animals were submissive for them. The moment they became, disobedient, the animal also became disobedient. That is why we have wild animal today. So I think that is the problem. That is the problem. Anybody whose hand is not clean, who has skeleton in his cupboard, will be very difficult. It's just like somebody who knows that he's a fake lawyer and he's in court.
Exactly.
He knows how he raises his voice. Because people say when the flute makes too much noise, we probe the source of the tree that it came from.
So you are liking this issue to what's happening in Adia State, River State here. Could you expatiate a little bit?
As regards
what's happening in Abga, and you say that there's a likelihood that it might be occurring here also in River State.
No, the River State case is not too similar with Abga own, because it is one group that want to make themselves very lawless and to say what their recognition is for so and so person. We know that they are wasting their time. And even the man that they call Sack knew that promise cannot legitimize his position as the party leader. He knows. And that is why when people address him now, they don't address him as the party caretaker committee party chairman. He has lost that status.
That it can be appealed.
Yes, even though it's appealed. Let me tell you one thing that is going to happen in appeal. If he appeal, which I know by now he would have, he will first of all file for stay of execution. Court will refuse stay. The reason court will refuse stay is because there are grounds for stay to be executed, especially when they rest the issue in contest. Do not have the tendency to diminish. That is one ground that court will not grant stay. For example, somebody want to build on your land. And he has gotten judgment in the high court. If there is no stay of that high court judgment, he may likely build overnight. We have seen it happen. So court will, in that circumstance, court will grant stay. But in this situation where election is not coming up next month, there is that likelihood, except that this appeal court is compromised. That was what happened when Amewule and the rest went to court to stay the expected order of the state high court. And the court said no, it will preempt the proceeding because you are already before us. Let's take the two matters together and give judgment one way or the other. That is what is going to happen. He knows. He knows. And that is why I see some of them, playing to gallery. They know that the authentic party leadership of is a Emeka Beke. Whether the National Working Committee likes his face or not. And that is why there is also an attendant ex parte order too. They are very smart because they knew that the party wanted to throw them away by instituting another primary here. That was what happened. Why Supreme Court declared Amechi the governor of Rivers, because it happened to an Imo State man. They was either to reinstalled by the court before they came. They sacked him from the party, and court knew that Obasanjo who he is, that when he say he doesn't like you, he doesn't like you. So that was why the court instituted. They went beyond. Amechi didn't ask for being, or he said there is the authentic flag bearer of the party. So what are we trying to say? The case of Afghan this way is not the same thing.
Yes.
If the other people have a parallel secretariat, it won't make any difference. Where the power is now is where Njoku is, because it has Supreme Court backing, because that is the apex court of the land. If you don't like it, appeal to heaven.
Oh, very, very expository. All right, we'll move on to another issue right here before us. African Democratic Congress, ADC, and lambasting the President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda, saying it is becoming a bastion of hopelessness, with Nigerian youths becoming victims of the government's neglect. The national chairman of the ADC, Chief Ralph Nwosu, said this in Abuja while commissioning the ADC Youth Council. According to him, while other nations are promoting youth engagement and employment through sports and policies deliberately designed to harness the creativity of the youth, the current administration is fixated or suppressing the youths and wasting the common patrimony on luxuries. Sir, are there any policies at any time, at any administration, that has been tailored for youths in this country, sir?
Now, when I was reading that news, I laughed, because one of my lecturers told me, he said, when you are within the corridor of power, you see less, you become very myopic. But when you are outside, it's just like, there is a say that spectators are always the best players.
Yeah.
Now, I've looked at the Tinubu, campaign promises, where he vividly promised 30% slot to the youth. But my concern is, if you become a governor of a state, for example, let me use the one that just happened in this state. When Amechi became the governor of Rivers State, people like Samson Parker became commissioner of health. They are just small boys that just left the school. They will look within their age bracket. That is what is happening in our state here too. The reason why the youth have not dominated is because he's trying to build his political tentacle, and he needs this old brain. Now, I've tried to look at who is a youth. You define youth as somebody who falls within the age bracket of 15 years and 24 years. Now, there is no universally acceptable definition of who a youth is.
Okay.
If you want to accuse Tinubu of not appointing the youth, who is a youth? Because by the definition, Nigeria definition of youth, it's not the universal definition of youth. Though there is no acceptable, but there is a conventional, definition of youth. And we believe that somebody who from the age of 18 to the age of 35 or 40. Now, but what these people are doing is, there's what we call young adult. There's difference between a youth and a young adult.
Okay.
A young adult, if you look at me now, you will think that I'm just 25 years. You won't know that I'm close to my 50. I'm a young adult. Very vibrant. I can trek from here to Elele. I can jump from here to Bolokri. I can be classified under young adult. So what they do, those laws that are meant for the youth, the one they promote for the youth, because they know that this youth, because no politician want to, take a risk. bring somebody that, they believe that the youth, they are prone to violence, so that they won't put your regime in challenge. So they want to bring young adults. And that is why if you look at this present government as being constituted, you will see a lot of young adults. In fact, somebody was even saying that from Obasanjo to date, he has recorded the most, youth-friendly government. But I look at those they called youth. They are not youth, they are young adults. Because I've looked at their date, they are just between, 40, 55, that. But if you look at them, they are agile, they are vibrant. But what is the definition of youth? The man who is talking here, if he has the opportunity of becoming the president of Nigeria, he will look for his old friends in school. He has old boys. So I don't blame them totally. I don't blame them. And another reason why I don't blame them is because our youth are not ready to take over governance.
Have they been prepared to take over?
You don't need somebody to prepare you.
In the gerontocracy of Nigeria.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you, Ray, why I say you don't need somebody to prepare. As I am.
I'm listening. Yes.
As I am, I have the capacity to man any office. Nobody prepared me. I prepared myself. But the fear of these people is that they know that, I told you a parable last time, that when you take a live catfish and throw it inside the river, he won't get it again. Because you have sent it to his heart. They believe that if they give some of us a little push, the sky will not even be our limit. So you have to prepare us. How do you know that the youth are prepared? When somebody brandish naira note to you, he tell him, I don't need this. What I need is how to catch the fish. Don't give me fish. You know what happened in 2023? Yeah. How people were taking dollars in exchange of their destiny. And today everybody is suffering it. And that is why I say we are not prepared yet. If we are prepared, they know that the population, the youth control the population of the country. And we can dictate what happened in the election. And the people know how to go by us. They are deliberately impoverished the youth, take them very far from the corridor of power, so that when it is every electionary period, they will come, give them one peanut, they will buy their vote and do whatever they want to. That's why I think they are not ready. The youth are not ready. Nobody will make them ready. They are the one who will determine and say enough is enough.
Now, these same youths are those that are traveling in droves outside the country and filling up these same positions that we're saying in the Western countries and in Europe and elsewhere in the world.
See,
and there's a brain drain occurring in Nigeria.
Let me tell you, my younger brother called me the other day. He's a dentist. He said he wants to travel. I said, why do you want to travel? He said most of his friends has traveled, that they have a better, pay aside there. Now, these people, they are professionals. Not all the youths are professionals.
Okay.
Now, what they do is that if my father was a politician and I am a legal practitioner, if they want somebody who will become this, maybe the Attorney General of the state, Attorney General of the Federation, and they want to give that slot to my father, and they know that my father is incapacitated, he will not recommend his son. Okay. That is what happens. If you check the trend of politics, that is how it goes. It is the same family that is ruling us, that is still ruling us. They merely use us as a ladder to climb. So I think that the only way all these things can be corrected, all these abnormalities can be corrected, is when we will now revert back to electronic voting. The moment that happens, you can stay in your house and vote. Nobody knows who you vote. A situation where you come to the polling youth, somebody want to know the party you are voting. And you take it off from there and begin to quarrel. So that is the challenge. The youth are not ready yet. And I think that President Tinubu, though I'm not his fan, but I think that from the statistics I've seen, they say he's more youth-friendly, but it's not youth. It's not youth that is in that government. It is young adults.
Okay.
They are all young adults.
But there's a protest that is almost brewing. They have made requests they have made some demands, and that if those demands are not met by October 1st, another grand protest will take place again.
From the body language of this government, they are not ready to listen to anybody. This government is hardened. The heart of this government is seared. They are not ready to do anything. See, let me tell you, where somebody like Akpabio will stay in the house and be saying they should protest while he's enjoying himself. It's a careless statement. That alone, if it is a civilized country, it's a law for us to recall him and invoke Section 14 sub 2 that said that sovereignty is of the people. We recall him. But how many persons have initiated it now? We are supposed to recall him for that singular statement. We are the people who sent you there. We sent you there because all of us cannot go there to make law. You are our idea. And the same person who is supposed to be our spokesperson is now, making jest of us. It is enough now to recall him. I don't know any time power gets to a satana, we misuse it. That was what Nega was made the CJN. He forgot that he did not declare his asset. And they use it against him. Now, look at what is happening now. Government is going for plea bargaining so that they can settle out of court. So that they can remove that dilemma from his name. But he has lost it. So I think that a lot of things need to be corrected. Nothing is going to change. Yes, they have met their demand, but from the body language of this government, I don't think they are ready to do anything. Because they know that Nigeria, we are very docile. That's why they are taking advantage of us. A Nigerian man know how to meander through difficult terrain. So they know they are taking advantage of it. Look at now, fuel is between 950 900. No, have you seen anybody quarry on the road again? We are acclimatized to it. That's the type of people that these people know that a Nigerian man can only make noise when that is after that time. They will just say, how we go do now? We could manage. And things will continue to go wrong.
Let's pray that things are rightened and the youths, which are the leaders of tomorrow, tomorrow never seems to come. We move on. There appears to be confusion in the Imo APC as the party is yet to fix a date for its primary elections across the 27 local government areas and 305 wards of the state. Again, Governor Hope Uzodinma's silence on the date in his recent speech has also raised concerns among political watchers. The leadership of the party had earlier on August the 16th selected August the 22nd for the primary exercise, and the announcement was made by the state chairman of the party, MacDonald Ebere, while addressing aspirants and other party faithfuls in its secretariat in Owerri. Just a few hours after the announcement, another date was seen flying on social media, indicating that the date for the exercise had been shifted to August the 24th, which was never debunked nor confirmed by the party leadership. Noticeably, the two dates that were selected for the exercise have come and gone, but the primaries is yet to take place. Yes, sir. Well, we have a situation in Imo State, of which the primaries for the APC has been delayed over and over again. Initially, it was thought to be maybe because of the Supreme Court's ruling on the governorship elections in the state, but that has come and gone, and at least to their credit, it favored the APC. But I want to know your opinion on why there have been delays in having a tentative date for the primaries for the APC to commence in Imo State, sir.
You see, the toad does not jump in the data without a cause.
Yeah.
It's either something is pursuing after it or is pursuing after something. Ordinarily, one would think that as the ruling party in the state, they were the first to conduct primary election.
Exactly.
But surprisingly, what we are seeing now, we never bargained for it. And I am thinking that something may be fishy somewhere. There is something that is more to the eyes. Because look at the two dates, two conflicting dates.
Exactly.
And the two parties are quiet. When I talk the two parties, I'm talking about the Ntikobe governor, Hope Uzodinma, and MacDonald, the party chairman.
Exactly.
Now, I am thinking that, last time I was telling you about, the soul of the party.
Yes.
The soul of the party, I think some persons are wrestling over the soul of the party. Now, I try to look at the, Hope Uzodinma's excuse. He was of the opinion that they are going to come up with consensus candidate. Exactly. Because there are so many contestants for that few position, and promise losers of being reimbursed of their money. The party chairman, Bill MacDonald, also said that they are going to use delegate, that it shall be by delegates election, and that it shall be only exclusive reserved for the party executive, which was not comfortable. Some person, it didn't go that way with some members of the party. We are thinking that it should have been open to the card-carrying member. And as a politician, and someone who have been following politics closely in Nigeria, I believe definitely there is something somewhere that they have not told us. There is no alignment between the government of Imo State and the party leadership. What they are doing is just window dressing. We know that if all is well with APC in Imo State, it wouldn't be possible for them to shift primary election because they already know who will fly their flag. They already know.
Yeah.
So what they would have done is the normal thing they have been doing is to call the other people to step down, because the governor has already said, for governor to say that they are believing that it will go by consensus, it means that he has a choice.
Yes.
And the same governor also contradicted himself and said he will not have a preferred candidate. You know, speaking from both sides of the man, I think something is definitely wrong in Imo State APC.
Because there was also a comment by the governor to say that if there were anybody that went to Dobale, per se, to go to genuflect or go to swear oaths with any other stakeholder in the party, and that the person will be...
He says it's a ground for disqualification.
Yes, it's a ground for disqualification. And I begin to see if maybe there is an opposing camp within the Imo APC. Is the governor still in charge, or is there another structure that is popping up from the Imo APC per se?
I am thinking, although we are limited to all the information that is available to us, but I'm thinking that there are unseen hands. There are unseen hands that is beyond the control of Hope Uzodinma. And that is why the only option he has is to be shifting the date. But you can't shift the date for perpetuity.
Exactly.
So what they need to do, if they don't want to lose that position, is to put their house in order. And that's all. If they don't do that, if he must insist on his own candidate, these are people, they should, the best thing is let them throw the position open. Why are they afraid? Let all the card carry member, okay, if you say all the card carry member, the capacity of the play may not carry them. Okay, let's go by the party executive. Let all the party executive fund the delegate. Let them go and vote a candidate of their own choice. Whosoever that they might, let the loser congratulate the winner. And that's what they move on. But if nothing is done, I am sure that I was going through the electoral act, and electoral act was silent when it comes to issue of day, but it played a supervisory role over local government, conduct of election, over state conduct of election in local government. And I think that, every state legislature has their own law that regulate the election. Now, I think that if what they are doing is in tandem with the electoral, law in the state, I believe that before they are shifted, they would have looked at the law. So if they have looked at the law and they are still within time, I pray they shouldn't run out of that, because when they run out of that, it is a ground.
Exactly.
To bring litigation in the process.
Okay, sir. This is the second tenure of Hope Uzodinma per se. After now, the constitutional rights he has to contest again is exhausted. Do you think that he wants to install himself as a per se political godfather per se? Because if he was on his first tenure, and it's been very difficult for him to get those people that he needed for the consensus and hold the party in a firm grip, it would have been understandable. But being that this is second tenure, after now, he might move up to the national or take a seat as an elder statesman in the party in Imo State. But is he trying to install himself, per se, as a generalissimo of APC in Imo State?
Now, if you look at the way Hope Uzodinma emerged as the governor of Imo State, you know that is what the people out there call Supreme Court governor, just like what happened to Rotimi Amechi in the state. He never had the support of the people of the state. But somehow there is nothing the people can do since the Supreme Court has spoken. And now, the fear of every politician, I've always told you here, the fear of every politician is to stay out of power. Because every politician wants to remain relevant, and that is part of the problem Hope is having. Hope wants to ensure that as he's living, he's installing somebody that will still keep him in governance. That's what they do. And I see that as being selfish. You have completed your tenure. Why not allow the process to run? You know that you were not, hither to this time, you were not popular. But somehow, you came by the law. And if you want to go, you think that you can control, not afterward, that Imo State has been a PDP state.
Yes.
It has been a PDP state. It was that they removed before he came. So I still believe that the Imo State, support for PDP is still at the higher side. So I think if they don't put their house in order, what they fear most will happen to them.
What was your prediction on the second tenure of Hope Uzodinma concerning his victory at the Supreme Court for his second tenure?
Now, they said that those who live in glass houses don't cast stone. I want to say that, oftentimes we hear that you don't preempt the court. But do you know that the judiciary now are becoming predictable? When they were talking about Supreme Court, in those days, when you hear that Supreme Court want to give judgment, everybody want to glue to the television. Yes. Everybody want to hear, because you don't know what the Supreme Court will say. Exactly. But now we already know what the Supreme Court will say. Before that judgment was given, I knew that it was going to go in the favor of the incumbent. Because we know that the most corrupt sector in Nigeria is the judiciary.
How come? How did the judiciary get to that point?
Now let me tell you.
Yes.
What happened is that when the politicians, in fact, I don't want to mention name.
Okay.
One of the retired justices of one of our revered, high court in the state, said that when the politicians saw how the judiciary were using their power to right the wrongs politically, now they decided to plant their people. They started pushing their wives, their cousin, their brother, their relation, and begin to push them until they set to Supreme Court level. And the moment matter that has to do with their interest come before them, there is sentiment. We are human beings. Sentiment with that, that is why we are here where we are now. In fact, when that woman was saying it, it's a video clip, I still have it in my phone. When she was saying, he said there are some powerful SAN who, she said when she came into power, he discovered that some people at the registry has worked there more than 20 years. And he asked, why are these people not going on transfer? Somebody told her, said these people have backing. So she decided to transfer them. And when they transferred them, the thing raised a lot of dust. She maintained her ground. That was how this information now leaked. Somebody called out, for you to have the guts to do this, it means that you can right the wrong. You see, that was what happened. They were delaying matters that, most of these politicians have interest by, sometimes they will hide the file, sometimes they will do certain things so that the other person can get adjournment date. And that is why, that is how we finally got to where we are now. And what we are seeing now is just, even eyebrow. Because if you check what is happening now from the court of inferior court, like customary court, like magistrate court, they all have their people there. And if you check what has happened recently, you discover that most of the justices that they have pushed and promoted have affiliation with the politician. So a due day is coming for this.
There's a full politicization of the judiciary.
Judiciary have been dragged into politics. Not only that they are dragged into Nigeria politics, they have become a key player, a determinant to who occupies any position.
Well, how do you think we can launder or at least do a hard reset on the judiciary?
The only solution to it is that, one, the CJN must be apolitical.
Okay.
Now, after that, the appointment of justices and judges should be on merit. And XYZ governor, yes, I have been to his wife's court. It's not too bad, but she's not qualified to be pushed to where she is now. She's not qualified, for crying out loud. She is not qualified to be where she is now. I don't want to mention it. So that is where we find ourselves. And if anything must change, is let everything be done on merit. Let the Council of Legal Education open their eyes. Let the disciplinary committee that is in charge of disciplinary hearing judges, let them sit up, so that by the time, look at what the new CJN is saying. Yes, she may have a good dream, But the moment he who paid the piper detect his stone, the moment he said somebody appointed her, yes, CJ make a recommendation. Sorry, what is it called? The highest body make their recommendation to NJC make a recommendation to him. Then the governor, the president approve in the case of the federal.
Yeah.
Now, if the president refuse to approve, he cannot appoint on his own. They will make another recommendation. But the truth is that whether the president like the face of that person or not, he cannot appoint any person on his own. So it is very easy since it's done by seniority at bar, and these people know that they merited what they are doing, why would they play to gallery? So judiciary need to be sanitized.
Oh.
That is what President Buhari wanted to do.
Okay.
But people, came on here and say the way he's going, he may make himself unpopular. But that would have helped us a lot, because that brought fear into the judiciary. But today, people buy judgment. Honestly speaking, people buy judgment. I don't want to speak more than that. Let it not be that, casting, stone and glass as it were. You're part of that place. So let me enter that level.
Okay, let's move on to the next story coming from Nigerians took to the streets in early August 2024 to protest the soaring cost of living and double-digit inflation. Ahead of the rallies, a video shared online purportedly to show U.S. President Donald Trump backing the demonstrators. However, AFP fact check found that the clip's audio was digitally altered with the help of artificial intelligence, AI. The original video was from a 2017 interview Trump had with NBC about the Federal Bureau of Investigations, the FBI. Nigerians, wake up, it's time, and reads the caption on a TikTok video. And Donald has told us to do so, and we have to do it. Shared more than 18,000 times since it was published on July the 27th, 2024, the post claims to show Trump urging protesters in Nigeria to get behind a series of street demonstrations scheduled for the first week in August. We are still reeling from the shockwaves that came as a result of the August protest. It has been given different nomenclatures. We don't know which to pick from, but the same idea stood at the center stage. I want to first of all put it out first that I am talking to a stakeholder in that movement. Are you part?
Here in River State, yes.
Here in River State?
Yes, please.
Okay, so did you have any connections? Did you have any link with those in Lagos?
No link with anybody. It was organic.
Okay, it was
protest
strictly
was
local.
Organic, yes.
It was a local
movement. And organic. Everybody who thought that they had enough of bad governance, bad government, of failings in leadership came out without being coerced, cajoled, manipulated, or influenced. Came out and thought that, this is the only right that we have got, that we can demonstrate, and it will show to those in position that we are evidently annoyed with their style of leadership. And the people from all walks of life, came out, and we demonstrated consistently and continuously for the number of days that we did. If you called on us again to repeat that, Nigerians will come in their number, even much more than it was, when we did it in August. I'm just going to say that there's nothing that is illegal about protest. We must emphasize that protest in and of itself is not a terrible word. Protest in and of itself is peaceful. It's when you are talking about, or when you drift to the realms of insurrection, you drift to the realms of rioting and all that it becomes, against the law. But protest in and of itself is not against the law. And we will do it again and again and again until the politicians will understand that in the first instance, they are there to represent the people. They are there because the people say they want them to be there. Should I say the people say? No. They are there, in our case, because the system says they should be there. Not the people. Because if it was the people who said to them to be there, the politicians will understand that it's only the yearnings, the aspirations, the askings of the people that must be pursued every time. What we see today is that every politician, or a majority of the politicians we have, are only interested in what they are interested in. Selfish. Self and self and self is always at the center. Today, Nigerians are reeling in pain, in poverty, in penury, in deprivation, in starvation, in agony. Mention all of the words. You say Nigerians are reeling in this thing from the north to the south to the east and the west. But our politicians are busy, buying yachts. They are busy buying the best of aircraft. They are busy buying the best of. They are dominating the land, the sea, and the air. Nigerian politicians are busy buying cars in times when otherwise you expected, because they have said to us that austere times require austere measures, and we are not seeing anything that is austere about their lifestyle. So the people will demonstrate now, they will demonstrate tomorrow, and they can demonstrate for as long as it takes until the politicians will be called to their senses to understand that until you did things for the people, until you fixed the people, until you addressed the cries of the people, everything else that you are doing paves into insignificance. Because democracy is essentially about the people. We have been told that democracy is government of the people, by the people, and for the people. You found that the people repeated itself 3 times, even in that definition. Meaning everything else that you did as a leader, everything else that you wanted to do as a leader in a democracy, if it did not interact with the askings of the people, if it did not address the yearnings of the people, if it did not, provide succor to the pains of the people, then it's not a democracy. Then it's something else. It can be called a gerontocracy. It can be called a plutocracy. It can be called any kind of crazy. But as long as we say we are practicing a democracy, everyone who is a leader, from the local government to the states and to the federal, from the National Assembly to the States Assembly, from the magistrate courts to the Supreme Court, everyone who calls themselves leaders must only address the things that speaks truth, or must only address the things that provide succor, must only address the things that gives assurance to the people who put them there in the first instance.
Okay, talking about the protest that just passed, I do know that there were insinuations that some of the leaders of the protest were bought over by the governor of the state.
Was I bought over?
That's why we are talking to you. And we want to know, if you were bought over, how much was it? How many other stakeholders
I'm putting it on air.
And also
I have been
the merits and the demerits of the protest.
Involved in politics, locally, school politics, locally, local government, state politics, national politics. In the last, if I want to be quite conservative, in the last 25 to 30 years of my life, right, actively involved. I want to put it on record. There is no politician born of a woman, Andy Akpotive is the one who is saying it, who has given Andy 50 naira, 5 naira, a farthing to go and prosecute anything politically. None! None has done. None is doing.
Water and bread.
None can do. None did. None is doing. None can do. Because there are some of us whose integrity cannot be bought. It cannot be sold. It cannot be presented on any platter. Who is the politician? Name the politician today. And I'm putting it as a challenge until it appeals to my conscience, until it presents, joy for the people, until it's a thing that creates happiness, until it's a thing that creates goodness over the land, until it's a thing that speaks to integrity, until it's a thing that speaks to the happiness of God. You would never find me there. So I said all of this to say, and it's not just me. I know, a couple of other comrades in this struggle who I can say to you, I've never taken a farthing from any politician. I've never taken a farthing from any organized group. In any case, we were the ones who even used our lean resources to even sustain some of the things that we did.
We did hear the governor say that he is going to provide for water and bread, and you were in that protest.
When he said that, what did we say? You would have heard some of our voices where we said to him, no! Did we come here to ask for water and bread? We came here to say to you, to address the national, that Nigerians are suffering. That there are people in the hospitals as we speak today who are unable to take care of their sick brothers, their sick relatives. Do you know that a journalist had a challenge, a gastroenteritis? I think that was the challenge, because the ARD are currently on strike, right? The resident doctors are currently on strike. They took him to several hospitals and he was not attended to. They took him to a private hospital, he was not attended to. A journalist, he died. He died a death that he should not have died. Nigeria failed him. Nigerians failed him. The government failed him. And you are having too many of these deaths across the length and breadth of the country. Go to UPTH here, take a stroll there. You found that there are certain people who should have done certain surgeries but are unable to do it because they do not have the monies to do it. You found that there are certain people who, are supposed to have done certain procedures that should be able to elongate their life, that should be able to give them better quality life, that should be able to help them live better life. They are unable to do those procedures now because they do not have monies to address it. This is the fate of the myriads of Nigerians that you found everywhere, scattered across Nigeria, because the government has simply failed. They are rather interested in jumping from Nigeria to go and receive medical care abroad. I asked a question recently: who really in government today is a Nigerian? Who really in government today can you say is a Nigerian? How do you know who a Nigerian is? Someone who is investing in Nigeria, someone who is buying Nigeria, someone who is interested in the things of Nigeria. Are you going to tell me I'm a Nigerian just because I'm singing a national anthem? Meanwhile, all of your businesses are abroad. All the businesses that you have as a politician, that you have been a politician since 1999, all the monies you have fleeced from us as a people, instead of you to invest those monies, albeit evil monies, instead of you to have invested in our country, you are carrying it to Dubai. You are carrying the monies to Malta. You are carrying the monies to Great Britain. You are carrying the monies to America. That's one. Two, your children want to go and get education to show that you are not a Nigerian and you do not believe in Nigeria. You do not send your children to schools in Nigeria. You do not even invest in building quality educational institutions in Nigeria. You take your children abroad to go and receive education in France, to go to Dubai to get education, to go to America to get education. The time comes also for you to go and relax. A thing as miniature, a thing as ordinary as relaxation. You are not even choosing Obudu Cattle Ranch. You are not even choosing a community in Asaba. You are not even choosing a community in Delta State. You are not choosing a community in River State. You carry your entire family. You will get on a yacht. We find you people in Spain. We find you people in Russia. We find you people in Mali. We find you people in other countries. What exactly can we point to say that these politicians that we see pervading the streets of Nigeria are indeed Nigerians? I've said to them, if you looked at them, you will not find the Nigerian blood in them. Little wonder you see that they are doing all the evils that they are doing. If you knew the house belonged to you, you will not be taken from the house to go and plant elsewhere. If the house was yours, all you would do would be to make the house better. We found our Nigerian politicians taking from the house, taking it outside and planting and building outside, ensuring that the house becomes a carcass. We are saying enough is enough. That's why the people, if you called on us again to go and protest because of all of these evils that we see,
coming to that.
We are going to consistently and continuously
because I think the protest has been threatening to come back again on the October the 1st.
Yes.
And some recommendations have been given to the federal government and even the state governors to also make sure that they meet up to these requirements, or else the protest will continue. But if the protest has to come on, and meanwhile the fuel subsidy somehow has returned, so why are we going for another protest?
So it's a convoluted problem that we are facing in our country, Nigeria. And all of these...
Doesn't it now seem like the protesters are like a man given a hammer and everything looks like a nail?
Not exactly.
Okay.
Because what we have been pursuing, if you went on net, for instance, you will see certain things that we have begun to suggest to the government to do to prevent the coming protests.
Exactly.
If you were a government that was people, sensitive, you listened. And it's not rocket science knowledge to fix some of these challenges that the protesters are asking be fixed. It's not raw. It doesn't take rocket science knowledge to do some of these things. It just takes a sincere heart to serve, a sincere heart to be for the people. See, let me say this to you. It's an illustration I give to a lot of people who think that they will continuously be in power, enjoying wealth all the time. I play the game of chess and I play it a lot. I love the game of chess. And there are several officers and officials, that you have in the game of chess. You have the king, you have the queen, you have the rooks, you have the bishops, you have the pawns.
Yeah.
On the board of the chess, they are moved differently. The pawns can only move 1 step or 2 steps when they are starting. The queens can move anywhere, can move anyhow, can do as they like. The bishops, the rooks, they have a good latitude to be able to move on the board. But guess what? When the game ends, all of them are packed into a box. The reality that and the lesson that we should get from the game of chess, it didn't matter what latitude nature provides you with on earth as a governor, that you are driving with siren. There are 300 cars in front of you, 20 cars behind you. There are police officers that are whooping people and asking that people should move away from the road like you are a god. It didn't matter whether you're a senator or a senate president. And as you were appearing to the National Assembly, there were people who were shouting, oh. It didn't matter what you are. The time is going to come when the game is over. Every of these officials will be packed into a box until such a time again when the master, the one who wants to replay the game, will open it and call you back. When the game is up and you are packed into the box, what will be said of you as a politician? What will be said of you as a governor? What will be said of you as a political leader? What will be said of you as a CTC chairman who thinks that for you, empowerment is to be buying Tokumo cars, second-hand vehicles and third-hand vehicles for your compatriots, when you understood that there are better ways to do empowerment that will be long-lasting? What will be said of you as a CTC chairman? What will be said of you as a governor? What will be said of you as a president? I'm saying that the time is going to come when the one who brought all of the players out is going to say the game is over. And they will pack it. Everyone is going to be in a box.
Very, 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 very revealing, very, very apt, and straight to the point. Andy Akpotive has made it clear that he did not the Labour Party has set up a 7-member disciplinary standing committee to curtail the excesses of members not ready to abide by its constitution and obey directives. The national chairman of the party, Julius Abure, while inaugurating the committee on Tuesday in Abuja, said that the decision was one of the resolutions reached at the meeting of the National Working Committee of the party. Abure urged all members to play by the rules and pay respects to the national leadership of the party and respect the Labour Party constitution. And meanwhile, the meeting of the National Working Committee of Julius Abure-led faction of the Labour Party on Tuesday sparked a fresh altercation with the factional chairman, Callistus Okafor, declaring the meeting a nullity and lacking the power to do so. Okafor, in an interview with journalists in Abuja on Tuesday, insisted that the purported meeting by Julius Abure was illegal, saying he has no right to call for a National Working Committee meeting after his tenure expired. All right, I put a pause there, first of all. And concerning Labour Party again, they have been taking baby steps and sometimes falling, sometimes making progress. But we are expecting them to be as stable as the major parties in our country. And there has arisen an issue of how legal is the National Working Committee led by Julius Abure, and even the only governor that they have, Alex Oti, was about convening a National Executive Council meeting and was rebuked by Abure that he had done a national convention that was recognized. But INEC is saying that his tenure has expired. And now they have set up, first of all, a disciplinary committee. And I want to know, first of all, before we discuss about the faction, the disciplinary committee, where do you think might be the biting ache, the pinching ache that made him reach out for this medicine kit to be able to heal the painful part of he who wears the shoe knows where it pinches. So, please.
Life abhors vacuum. And where there is vacuum, those who are wise will quickly feel it. All of these challenges that you see across the length and breadth of Nigeria, I can tell you that it's as a result of, by my estimation and reckoning, the failings of the judicature, the judiciary.
Okay.
The failings of the bar and bench. If you went to Kano State today, you found that there are two people contesting to be the king, the emir of Kano.
Exactly.
The case is lingering in perpetuity in the courts. If you went to Edo State today, you found that there are two people contesting to be deputy governors in Edo State. The court is addressing that in perpetuity. If you came to Rivers State today, you found that there are two houses of assembly. There is one that is saying, "Oh, I'm the right faction." The other is saying, "I'm the right faction." You found that the court again is addressing that in perpetuity. Even in Rivers State, you found a Tony Okocha saying that he's the legal chairman of APC. And you found an Emeka Beke saying, "Oh, the court already gave me the authority and already prohibited Tony Okocha from parading himself." The same court, the same system is failing to address this. So I've said all of this because I should emphasize that until we get it right with the courts, until we get it right with the judiciary, I'm afraid that all of these shenanigans that you see is not about to win. It's not about to go out. You'll find more of it in the body politics of Nigeria as we begin to edge towards election in 2027. The courts must come down. I think that what is before the current Chief Justice of the country, Kekere Ekun, is quite enormous. She must be able to rein in everybody to say, the entire country, the weight of the entire country is on us. Gentlemen and ladies, we must give direction to these politicians. We must rewrite what is right. We must redefine what is right. We must recalibrate what is right for Nigerians. Otherwise, we are fast sliding into the abyss as a people and as a country. We are fast sliding into it. I'm not going to speak to the issues because it's the same thing that you see in Nasarawa State, the same thing that you see in Kano State, the same thing that you see in Benue State, the same thing that you see across the entire country, where you have two people, the press will address one as factional leader, will address the other one as the second factional leader. Even the press is helping to complicate the issue because they are not looking at the judgment from court. Yesterday, I was listening to a radio station here in Rivers State, where a journalist was saying to someone who came to represent Tony that he's a factional leader. And I was miffed. The court, as we know today, already gave a judgment and said they were prohibiting these people from going on and addressing themselves in any manner or form or fashion to suggest that they are the escorts of APC. That judgment, they just went to court to address it, to put a stay. The stay has not come out. They've not got a superior judgment. It therefore means journalists cannot address them as factional leaders. Journalists must stay to what the court has said. But guess what? Journalists in our state, Rivers State, in our country, they are still helping to perpetuate this aberration. They are still helping to perpetuate this evil in our land by addressing.
Bad news is good news?
No. Yeah, even if bad news is good news, I thought that as journalists, your duty would be to address the issues as they are. and not because of sensationalism. If there were people on the social media platform that wanted to do that and wanted to say, oh, because the NEC already authorized Tony to be the chairman. Who is the NEC? Is the NEC the court? It didn't even matter if the president was the one who spoke from his seat and said, Tony, you are the one that must be the chairman. As long as the judgment of the court has not been upturned, why should you as a journalist be addressing him as a chairman? And these are the issues. This is why today we have these plenty aberrations across the divide. The court must therefore come down, come hard on politicians. And I'm afraid that it doesn't look like they're even going to be able to do that. They're going to be able to summon enough courage to be able to address that in any distant future. But if the celestial and the terrestrial we are to get them to do it, Nigeria will start moving. Nigeria will start, getting fixed again, as it were today, until the court is ready to act. Abure will be acting, the other guy will be acting, and you will find this kind of discordant tune, discordant voicing, discordant action in the body politic of Nigeria, as long as the court will not address it properly.
Okay, the Callistus-led faction is also having a backing and the tacit support from the Nigerian Labour Congress body that has been attached to the affairs of the Labour Party. And are we trying to say at this point now that the Labour Party may not be able to survive what this onslaught is about to unleash on her? Or the Labour Party is just going through one of those teething problems and will come out stronger and better?
The Labour Party is the child of the Nigerian Labour Congress. Let that be made known and clear.
Why should it be so?
The Labour Party is the child of the Nigerian Labour Congress. Every Nigerian who doesn't know this is either too politically naive or playing to the gallery.
But both of them.
Labour Party came as a result of certain decisions that were reached and taken by the Nigerian Labour movement. Go everywhere in the world where you have Labour Party. It's an adjunct to the Labour movement in that country. The Labour Union is the parent body of Labour Party. Take it anywhere you want to take it to. Forget all of these semantics that you hear everywhere.
Well, Nigerian Labour Congress is not supposed to be involved in politicking.
Who says? What are they supposed to be involved in? I don't understand why they are not supposed to be involved in politicking. Why should a Labour movement not be involved in politicking? Directly or indirectly? I do not understand. What law prevents a Labour movement from being involved in politicking? So we should leave politics to these hawks. We should leave politics to these political vultures that you have everywhere. People who do not understand what it means to labor. People who just sit down and they are allocating several allowances to themselves in billions. They are allocating allowances even to pay their aides, and they do not have the number of aides. Go look at the budget and see the number of aides by the amount that they have allocated for the salaries for their aides. If you calculated that as against the amount that was budgeted, you found that the National Assembly should have nothing less than 20,000 aides.
Whoa.
Should have nothing less than 20,000 aides. 20,000 aides for who? Now doing what? But guess what? They are allocating wardrobe allowance. They are allocating furniture allowance. They are allocating newspaper allowance. The newspaper that they no longer read. They are allocating all sorts of allowance. You expect the labor, the people who grind every day, who ensure that the Nigerian economy is moving, you expect them to sit at Akimbo or stand at Akimbo and be observing from a distance how these ox and vampires and vultures that are politicians, how they are going to help to suck Nigeria down and suck Nigeria dry. What is the law that prevents the labor? The labor therefore decided to throw their heart into the ring to say, we may not do it directly, but we are going to, like it's done everywhere else in the world, like it's done in Great Britain, we are going to give favor, we are going to give backing, we are going to help propel this party. And they bested a good party. They began to feed the party. But again, the hawkish tendencies that you have in Nigerian politicians that the Labour Party is not immune from crawled while the people were sleeping at night. It crawled into the Labour Party. The Bible addresses it. That when men of this are sleeping at night, the bad people came to sow tares, in the vineyard and all of that. Yeah. This is exactly what happens in our political party. And that's what is happening in Labour Party. The Labour Union must therefore sit up. They must sit up and pursue politicians politically. I have addressed this recently when I said, where the current governor of Rivers State is sitting was where Wike sat. And Wike was able to wield the much influence that he has today. The same position as a governor. The governor currently is sitting on that position and is crying. To my reckoning, I had said to people that they must say to him that what Wike did and what Wike knows, he must begin to pursue it. Until he is able to pursue the protocols that are open to politicians to do to have a stronghold, he's going to keep crying. I'm also saying to the NLC, you must do what politicians do. Okay. Until you do what politicians do, the Labour Party is going to be taken away from you people, and Nigeria will go back to the fate of APC and PDP like it used to be.
If Joe Ajaero happens to come out for president, using the Labour Party as instrumentally, because I think that might be one of the causes of the conflict there, because the Labour Party under Abure has just perpetually given it over to Peter Obi to come for 2027 presidential candidate.
Not essentially, even because the Abure faction is not even in sync with Peter Obi, because there were certain things that Peter Obi had said to the Abure faction to do. Okay. There were certain things that Peter Obi had suggested that the Abure faction is not even doing. Okay. Peter Obi is supposed to be the political leader of Labour Party today. Yeah. But how many people in the divide, in the two zones or the two factions, how many of them are ready to even listen to Peter Obi? They all come grandstanding. The Abure faction, they all come. If you forgot very quickly, it was the reason this man who was supporting Peter Obi tendered the resignation to say that Peter Obi had advised severally, but Peter Obi is not firm enough to be able to rein them in to say, this is what will happen. Otherwise, I put the rug off all your feet. I go and meet the man in Abia State and say, come on, let us import. Let us move to a different political party. I take all the sponsorship away from you people. Are you people going to be able to survive? But guess what? Peter Obi is a gentleman who is not ready to play politics the way politics is known to be played in Nigeria. Otherwise, he would have reined in all these people. You see, the same spirit that infected, or the same disease that infected the PDP, that has affected and infected the APC, has easily crawled into Labour Party, because this is Nigeria. And if the courts and the political leaders in Labour Party will not do what must be done, the Labour Party is going to share the same fate.
So Joe Ajaero can go for president if you want.
Absolutely. All you will need to do is to resign. Did you not see how a former Labour leader contested to be the governor in Edo State?
Exactly.
Adams Oshomole rode on unionism to become. Yeah. Did you also not see how Peter Esele of TUC, how he went and contested also as this thing? There's nothing stopping you essentially from contesting, because the law outlines clearly what you must possess or what you must not possess to be so qualified to contest for office or to be so disqualified. If you had all of the things that qualifies you, you therefore can stand election. And Joe Ajaero is not one that is infirmed. He's not one that cannot think. He's not one that has been imprisoned or has been sentenced, before. It's not all of those things that prevent you from contesting. You can't find them with Joe Ajaero. So nothing prevents him from standing. And I don't understand why journalists keep saying, why should those in Labour be in politics? Why shouldn't they be in politics? Why shouldn't journalists be in politics? Why shouldn't pastors be in politics? Why shouldn't everybody be in politics? If politics essentially is about getting to office to change the fate of the people, why shouldn't everybody be in office?
Good one. All right. Assistant Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party in Bayelsa State, Amade Teribebi, has been apprehended by officers of Zone 15 of the Nigerian police for allegedly possessing illegal firearms. According to pressman Tebiebi, a former militant is currently being interrogated at the Criminal Investigation Department of the Bayelsa State Police Command. The interrogation is taking place there due to the lack of detention facility at the Zone 16. Tebiebi's arrest on Monday follows an incident on November 2021 when one Richard Okon was detained for allegedly possessing illegal firearms during a wakekeep in Koloamab community located in the Southern Ijaw local government area of Bayelsa State. In a recorded confession, Okon claimed that the firearm in question belonged to Tebiebi, for whom he was working for at the time. However, the matter was not pursued further after the incident, and according to the police insider, Tebiebi was initially invited by the police but managed to secure his release by presenting falsified licenses and forged documents, aided by his influential connections. His recent arrest stems from a fresh petition accusing him of making threats to life, and the source noted that Tebiebi, undeterred by the 2021 incident, continued to flaunt his connections with impunity. I beg to stop there for now. Yeah, Mr. Andy, we are seeing a position, a situation where politicians are now having the guts, if I should say so, because the law does not permit it, to bear firearms and in the open and even loan to friends. And is this an intention to create fear pending when they decide to use that to muzzle their way through the electorate, maybe during election purposes? Or is it supposed to be a fundamental human right for Nigerians to now bear arms, being that maybe we are not as secure as we ought to be? It's two different sides of the coin.
Okay, so the law today as we know it in Nigeria is one that, if you may, addresses different situations using different measures. If an ordinary person, quote and unquote, were to carry firearms, for instance, the way it would be treated would be different from when someone who is heavily connected politically is carrying firearm or bearing firearm. We have seen that even in this story that you have spoken about, how that the police said that in the first instance, he presented falsified, fake documents. How did they know it was fake documents, yet they allowed him to leave their custody?
Exactly.
For you to be coming to the public and saying that the first time he escaped the big arm of the law. In Nigeria, the arm of the law is not so big anymore, because those who abuse the law understand that it's just a matter of having connect and connections, and that big arm would be suspended and it would not be able to do anything to you. How come, as a police force, you understood that it presented certain things that were fake as far back as 2001, and you let him continue? It speaks to the fact that once you were a politically exposed person in Nigeria, the law would treat you differently from how it would treat those who are not politically exposed people. So that today, do they want to tell me, Andy Akpotive, that they are not aware that there are certain non-state actors, even in River State, in certain communities in River State, that openly bear arms and carry arms and create order in their society, create order in their local government, create order in their communities? People who are non-state actors, their leaders say to them that they are the one. I don't want to mention their names. The police force, the police hierarchy, the top echelon of those who are in the security business, they understand these things. But again, this is Nigeria, where the truth is might is always right, and right always kowtow to might. This is Nigeria, and we must understand that this is the condition we have found ourselves. I am tempted to say, even on air, that why you find that the police prosecutes one
of these kinds of people every now and again is not sometimes far from the truth that they may just want them to realign. Because politicians are not interested in having conversations, in having people like Andy and his likes, on bed with them. They're interested in having those who can wield firearms, those who can pull out firearms at will, those who, if you may, are political structures.
So firearms are a political economy.
Absolutely. They're in our political economy. It's a currency. It's a currency that is very, very important for politicians. Either to go and disrupt the stronghold of your opponent, or to help you perpetuate yourself in office by stuffing ballot boxes, shooting guns in the air, running with ballot boxes. This is what we have in Nigeria. And I do not understand how sometimes we bury our heads like, the proverbial ostrich, and pretending that we do not know that these things exist. When in truth, there is no Nigerian, no politician who doesn't understand and who doesn't know that indeed Nigerians that are non-state actors are everywhere, in the north, in the south, in the east and the west, bearing firearms openly, and nothing is going on.
Okay, we have a situation in River State here when one of former militants was declared wanted by the police.
Yes.
For making threats against the former governor and the minister of the Federal Capital Territory. And we have not heard anything concerning that. And he is per se in support of the governor, and the governor has not said anything about it.
You will not hear anything. How would you hear it? Who will give the authorization? I have just, and I'm tempted not to mention the community. If you got to that community now as I speak with you, you found some people that go by certain names, a first, whatever, then you have soldiers. That are parading, they are non-state actors. They are carrying guns everywhere. Openly, they are displaying guns. And it's not just in River State too. You found that everywhere in the country. You found it in Lagos State, you found it in Ibadan, you found it in the north, you found it in the east. This is what Nigeria has come to be. And sometimes, I'm wondering if they should not just allow everybody carry firearms.
I was about to ask that question.
If a few people already openly carry firearms and they are threatening the rest of Nigerians.
Do you support for Nigerians, an average citizen, to bear arms?
No, we cannot descend to that level where a society that is not adequately equipped is allowed to carry firearms. I say to people that the man who is wealthy can decide to eat so much with his family and not be troubled about certain medical conditions that may come as a result of overfeeding. But if you are not wealthy, you took caution in what you ate, how you ate it. First off, in how you are able to purchase that thing, and even if someone gives it to you freely, you understood that if you ate it and it gave you certain medical conditions that will end up taking you to the hospital, you may not have the means to be able to address that. Why have I said all of this? In America, where there is the understanding, there is adequately the protocol arranged properly that can be respected on what it would take for you to go get firearm, how you would get firearm, what protocols you must trigger before firearm is sold to you. A system that is that organized can decide to have fire. But imagine Nigeria where I was saying to a friend today who said to me that his business, he needed some monies to get. He had gone to banks to get loans and they were not giving him loans, and he wanted to pursue a few other protocols from the banking system to get a loan, and they were putting too much rules for him to get it. And I said, why would they not do that? When in Nigeria today, nobody understands where you live. Nobody understands how to trace you if you took their money and you ran away. There's no social security system in Nigeria. If you took loans in America, if you were going to leave the airport, for instance, they would accost you. How are you living? What did you leave behind? You want to take our money and run to Nigeria? You want to take our money and run to Ghana? But in Nigeria, you do not have those kinds of systems.
until we are able to institute those kind of systems, we cannot say we want to start bearing firearms. However, why is it that in Nigeria there are some animals that are more equal than the others?
Exactly.
Those animals are having the edge over others. For instance, who are the people that they are giving the contract to protect the pipelines in Nigeria? Who are the people that governors are having conversations with? And they will call the governors will say, you can come, have open access. Who are the people that today are in NDDC as SSA, SA? I hear that even in NDC right now, if you count the number of SAs and SSAs that you have both to the MD, to the chairman, to the EDFA and all that, they are enough to full a full state. The number of SSA and SAs that you have there. Who are these SSAs and SAs? What are the criteria, if you may, that they use to, get these SAs there? The truth of the matter is that Nigeria, we have come to understand that if you pursue violence as against pursuing academics, as against pursuing logic and sense, you have a higher chance of becoming politically as compared to the person who is pursuing education. Wow. And that's why you are seeing that, the likes of this man that we have just talked about are interested in carrying firearms. More people are carrying firearms and more people will carry firearms.
Whoa, that's a major disconnect in our political system. Even